from the Rich Couch. So glad to be back on the Rich Couch with you all. This is my post-grad part 2 experience video. So just sharing with everyone as I am, post-grad, I graduated back in December 2020 from the Marriage and Family Therapy program that I was in. So I'm just sharing with you guys like what I've been learning as a therapist, how to take care of myself as I'm taking care of clients and making sure I'm healthy as I help clients stay healthy. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so I made a little list. We're gonna keep it short and sweet, but we're gonna keep it rich. So just a reminder, if it's been a while from you, here on the Rich Couch, we're all about rich relationships, rich conversation, and enriching your life. So I have shared lots of videos about my relationship with my husband, my relationships with friends, and I think it's really important to have a healthy relationship with yourself, especially as a helper. So whether you be a doctor, whether you be a mom, whether you be a pastor, whether you are a helper in any capacity, it's important to have a healthy relationship with yourself and make sure you are taking care of you too, because you matter. Okay, so post-grad life. One thing that I have digested as a rich nugget is do not despise humble beginnings. So for example, one of my dreams is to own my own private practice one day. But currently I am working for a large healthcare organization in South Florida, which I have been learning so much from because that's not my background. So I've never worked in a large hospital setting quite in the capacity that I am in now. So it was a very humbling experience coming from 4.5 years in the nonprofit world, and I was very comfortable in knowing what I knew, to now going into something very different. There are similarities, but again, I'm in a newer role as a therapist, so I really have to humble myself and just be in a learning position. So, however, I will say with that, do not despise humble beginnings, but never ever lose your vision and your why. I say this because whatever you feel like you were born to do, and therapy is definitely one of those things I feel like I was born to do. I think it's important to not lose your vision, not lose your why. Like, why do you want to do this? Why I want to do this is because I love working with couples, working with the family system. And I really believe that there is a way to restore relationships. So even though it takes work, but I do believe in that. And that is a part of my vision. So I cannot lose sight of that, even though I'm in a brand new setting and I'm like the rookie on the scene in so many cases. So it's important to do not despise humble beginnings, but also never ever lose your vision or your why. Because there's definitely some pros with being in a new setting and learning lots of new things. You're gaining experience. You have an opportunity to network. And if you know me, I am a networker. And it's just another opportunity to learn about different resources in your area, in your community, and and expand the network of care for the community we serve. So that is my first point. My other point, one thing I really loved about our graduate program, I'm not sure about your graduate program if you're watching this and you happen to be a therapist as well or a therapist in training, they really focus on what we would call self of the therapist. And basically that was really teaching us how to be aware. And I remember taking this away in my diversity class. Our professor started the first class of the semester with everybody has a bias. And I was a little offended. I was like, bias? What bias do I have? And she just made it really clear and simple for us. Everyone has a bias. Your job as a therapist is to know what your bias is and be aware of it. Most importantly, be aware that it is not coming in the way of that therapeutic relationship, that therapeutic conversation with your client. So I'll give you an example. I was with a client not too long ago. A situation came up and my bias just like, whoo, it just crept up. And I recognized it. First and foremost, I recognized it. And I said, Deborah, make sure this is not coming in the way of the client's therapeutic process, because she's processing a big decision she has to make right now. So, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that we learned that in graduate school. And it's so simple. You would think it's simple, but it's actually a lot of work because you want to always do what is best for your client. So if your bias is coming in the way of your client's best care, you have to pull back. You have to recognize that and say, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm not asking leading questions, or I'm not being judgmental in how I'm coming across in a way that it'll interrupt this person's healing, interrupt this person's process. So be aware of your bias, because everyone has them. We just do. Okay, another point, post-grad life, part 2. Supervision. I can't stress that enough. I'm at the point right now, I am a registered marriage and family therapist intern in the state of Florida, and I'm so glad I was introduced to my qualified supervisor. I meet with her every other week and just glean some knowledge, share with her what I'm processing. I'm also preparing for my national exam with the state of Florida. So I'm learning and being challenged in how I think about a theory, or how to actually practically use a theory in a session, and how to assess and use interventions that are helpful to my clients. So I cannot stress that enough. Seek supervision, seek supervision, seek supervision. And if you are seeking supervision, it needs to be from a licensed therapist, or a licensed social worker, or a licensed mental health counselor, whatever your credential is. Just make sure you're seeking that continuous supervision. I cannot stress that enough. The other thing I wanted to share, very practical, but I think I've seen it in myself and I've seen it in other new therapists or practitioners, is make time for a break. And if you can, in between sessions, or just make sure you set an alarm to have a lunch break or a mental break. Because sometimes, depending on your day, I know I've had those days, you have sessions back to back. So you are human, just like your client or just like anybody else. And you get tired. Your brain could get foggy. Your memory can be like, ooh, am I on my third or fourth or second client today? What's happening? So make sure you take time to have that lunch break. It's so easy between sessions and notes to just skip over it or push it back. But you have to nourish yourself. Again, going back to what I learned in grad school, the self of the therapist is just as important as all the models and the interventions we're learning about how to take care of others. We have to take care of ourselves too. The other thing is, let's say you haven't been able to go on a long, vacation. Take advantage of your weekends. That is, if you are not working a second job or you have another gig take advantage of your weekends. And with that, set boundaries. Oh my goodness, set those boundaries. My clients know I am available to them. I am here for you Monday through Friday. Okay? And that is typically from 8:30 to about 6:30. I am here for you, whatever your heart so desires or needs. But other than that, I have had clients call me 10:30 at night or on the weekends, and I don't pick up the phone to respond, especially if I know it's not an emergency. If it's an emergency, that's a different story. But I haven't had any emergencies come up past 6:30 or, over the weekends. So if it's an emergency, that's something totally different. But on Monday morning, first thing, I will call you back. I will respond to that email. But I think it's important for new therapists to make sure we're setting those boundaries in place now and helping clients understand that we are there for them. But after certain hours, we have to also rest and be with our families and have our own life too. So I think that's fair to assess. And depending where you work too, some places you have to be on the clock 24/7, depending on your role and your position. But Excuse me. I am trying to be in the healthiest place possible for myself and for my clients. So I hope that is very helpful to you if that is, resonating with where your journey is. And then the last tip I would say in my post-grad part 2 video is something that I was really pushing back and very nervous about, but my supervisor has been so encouraging, and she's like, listen, you just finished. You need to schedule your exam. So this is the last thing I will share, my last rich nugget. I have not passed yet because I haven't taken the exam yet. That is coming up very soon, and I will keep you guys updated. But she shared, since we were new grads, a lot of information is still fresh, even though we may be nervous about this big exam that we have to take for the state in order for us to become licensed eventually. She shared, start studying now. Give 2 hours, at least 2 hours a day or every other day towards studying for this exam. Go over all the material, read your intro books, and you will be prepared. So guess what I did? I took a practice exam. I did not like my score whatsoever, but I proceeded with registering for my exam, paid the exam fee, and guess what? I'm taking my exam very, very soon. I don't want to share the date yet, but I will keep you guys updated. But yeah, study. I'm trying to give it 2 hours every other night, or if I don't give it a solid 2 hours that night, I'll give 1 hour. But I definitely dedicate at least two days out of the week to 2 hours of reading, going over material, going over theories. In my mind, I don't see a point in just putting it off. I feel like a lot of the information is still fresh, and I want to go ahead and sit for my exam because I know my why, I know my vision, and I'm keeping that in sight, right? Okay, so that is my post-grad experience part 2. So if you are a new therapist, or you're finishing up your therapy program, or you're just interested to know the process that your therapists go through before they get to you, that was just me sharing, and I'm excited to jump back on the rich couch and have rich conversations with you all. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.